In today's video, I'm going to show you the common mistakes women make when counting the length of their menstrual cycle. Now, if you don't know how to count the length of your menstrual cycle, let me show you that quickly. To count the length of your menstrual cycle, you start counting from the first day your period starts to the last day before your next period comes. Now, meet our fictional woman, Mrs. B. So, in the month of June, Mrs. B's menstrual period, her first day of bleeding was on the 4th of June. So, that 4th of June becomes day 1 of her cycle. Then she bled for 4 days and bleeding stopped. So 5th of June becomes day 2, 6th becomes day 3, and 7th becomes day 4. Now, after 4 days, bleeding stopped. The next time she sees her period is on the 25th of June. So that 25th of June, which is cycled here, becomes day 1 of her next cycle. So day 1 of next cycle. Now, when you want to count the length of Mrs. B's cycle, you start counting from 4th of June to 24th of June. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So, Mrs. B has a 21 days cycle length. Now that we know how to count the length of a cycle, let's go over the mistakes women make. The first mistake is wrongly identifying day 1 of the cycle. For example, in the case of Mrs. B, let's say on June 1st, she had spotting. She saw a few drops of dried blood on her underwear. Then, on the 2nd of June, she saw black blood on her underwear. Then, on the 3rd of June, she saw brown blood mixed with mucus. Then, on the 4th of June, she saw red period blood flowing. That is the day she wore a pad. Now, the day 1 of Mrs. B's menstrual period is on the day she sees red period blood, not on the day of spotting, not on the day she saw black blood, not on the day she saw brown blood. It is the day she saw red period blood. Now, the second mistake women make is that when they want to start counting, they start counting from the last day of bleeding. Instead of counting from the first day of bleeding, they start counting from the last day of bleeding. So in the case of Mrs. B, instead of her to start counting from 4th of June, she will start counting from 7th of June, the last day of bleeding. So when you make this mistake, when you start counting from the last day of bleeding, instead of the day bleeding starts, you end up getting a wrong menstrual cycle length. And not just that, if you are planning to use that length to calculate your safe days and fertile days, you are going to totally miss it. Your fertile days, you miss it, and your safe days calculation will be wrong. Because if you are trying to avoid pregnancy using this method, you need to be able to correctly count the length of your menstrual cycle. So the second mistake is that women start counting from the last day of bleeding instead of starting from the first day of bleeding. And the correct way is to start from the first day of bleeding. Now, the third mistake is that a lot of women do not track their cycle lengths consistently. They just count the length of their cycle for 1 month and assume that that is the length of their cycle. Let me give you an example. So remember, in the month of June, we said Mrs. B's menstrual cycle length is 21 days after we counted. Now, June, 21 days. So this mistake I'm talking about, Mrs. B can just say, okay, my cycle length, I counted it in June, it was 21 days, and just assume that is her cycle length. Now, look at this. Mrs. B in January, her cycle length was 23 days. In February, it was 26 days. In March, it was 22 days. In April, it was 27 days. In May, it was 24 days. and now in June it is 21 days. So you can see that Mrs. B's cycle length vary from month to month. Now quickly, before I forget to mention, the normal length of a menstrual cycle ranges between 21 days to 35 days. So any cycle length less than 21 days or greater than 35 days is not normal. So if you fall in that category, please see a doctor to get checked out. Now, even though you can see that all these cycle lengths fall within the range of what is considered normal, they vary from month to month. So if Mrs. B only just checked for the month of June and assumed that she has a 21-day cycle, you can see that it does not give us a clear picture of how her cycle length actually is, because you can see that it varies from month to month. And if Mrs. B wants to calculate her safe days and fertile days, of course, if she used only 21 days because she just checked only for that month, she didn't check for the others, she might even get pregnant, because that is not the full picture. That is not how her cycle length actually is. So to get a clear picture of how your cycle length actually is, you should have tracked, or you should track your cycle length for at least 6 months. If you can, do it for a year. Don't just track, or don't just calculate or count only 1 month's length and take it as that is the length of your cycle. You should track it over a long time, at least 6 months. Now, mistake number 4 is that a lot of women assume that 28-day cycle is the cycle length for every woman. Now, that is very wrong. Cycle lengths differ from woman to woman. Some women have 30 days cycle length, some have 28 days cycle length, some have 27, some have 21, some have 35, some have 40. And even from this example I just showed you, you can see that even in the same woman, that one woman can have varying cycle lengths from month to month. So the assumption that every woman has a 28 days cycle length is wrong. It is not correct. And with this, we've come to the end of this video. If you learned something from this video, if you learned something new, please like the video, share and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, stay healthy and be kind to yourself.